Okay. Okay. Good afternoon. I'm calling the meeting, the February 10th meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. And Selectwoman Lefkowitz, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This feels too close.
Our first item is to consider and act upon the minutes of the regular meeting of February 3rd, 2020. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, reappointments. We have one reappointment today to hear, consider and act upon the reappointment of Bruce Ryan, 439 Beach Road, to the Police and Fire Retirement Board for the term of 11/19 to 11/22. May I have a motion to approve?
So, go ahead.
So moved.
Second?
Yes, second.
Any discussion from the board? Any discussion from the public? Seeing none, Mr. Ryan is unable to attend today because he is out of town, but as a member of this board myself, I have known Mr. Ryan for a long time, and actually he is very knowledgeable on the pension board, so I'm glad he's decided to continue to serve us in this capacity, so I'm happy that he has agreed. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, this is just for information purposes only and requires RTM approval. I am appointing Eric Newman of Eastfield Drive to serve on the Employees Retirement Board for the term of 11/19 to 11/24 to fill the vacancy of Jeffrey G. Mullen, whose time expired. And this is a first select woman appointment that just needs approval by the RTM. So if Mr. Newman is here, I'm going to raise your hand. I'd just like to say thank you for stepping up to serve on this many long meetings, just so you know. I hope you're prepared. And I also want to thank Mr. Mullen for his years of service on the retirement board. Thank you, Eric. Number 6, item 6, to hear and consider and act upon the following appointment.
Did you need to say something about the Sustainable Task Force as well?
That's where I'm doing.
Oh,
6.
that's 5B. I'm sorry.
Sorry. 5B. Yeah, I'm talking about that. The Sustainable Task Force.
Okay.
Following appointment to the Sustainable Fairfield Task Force. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, on my agenda, Mill Hill is number 6, so I thought you were.
Mine is 5.
Okay.
For the appointment of the Sustainable Fairfield Task Force, Rebecca G. Bunnell of 2005 Fairfield Beach Road. There is no term length for this task force. May I have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
A second.
Discussion? Comments from the public? Mrs. Bunnell is traveling, so she's unable to attend the meeting. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Mill Hill Elementary Building Committee requires Board of Finance and RTM approval. To hear, consider, and act upon the following bond resolution entitled, "The Resolution Amending and Restating the Resolution entitled, Resolution Appropriating $22,600,000 for the costs associated with the renovation and expansion of the Mill Hill Elementary School, authorizing the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, to increase the amount of appropriation and this bond authorization by 1.2749 to the total of 23,2755, consisting of 4 pages, a copy of which is attached here too. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Seconded.
Second. Discussion. Can we bring up presenter, Mr. Quinn, Chairman of the Building Committee? And is there any questions from the board?
I have a couple of comments, and I just wanted to say thank you. And I appreciate last week when I had moved to table the vote until today. I was and am supportive of this project, and I just wanted to thank you for your time this week for a few conversations that we had, and I had the opportunity to speak with you and with Mr. Lee and with the superintendent and many members of various boards in town and bodies. So I was really grateful to have the opportunity because, as you can imagine, while I had stated in context the increase that you were asking was not a huge number, I think that was misunderstood to mean that I didn't care about the extra expense, which is really not the case, thus delaying the vote for a week, because it is something that we all take very seriously. I'll speak for myself, though, that it's something I do take very seriously. And in any overage, and I really wanted to understand how we had gotten to that place. And so having this week and having the opportunity to speak with you, a couple of questions that you did answer for me that I just think it would be important to have you answer here for public record about the contingency, and why not go to the contingency amount first before asking for additional money. So you did give me an answer I was comfortable with, but I wanted you to have the opportunity.
Well, if you go to your contingency now, you're going to be in trouble in 6 to 12 months when you find out what else is wrong. And that's why we have it. For example, Holland Hill, okay. Thank you, Jerry. Holland Hill was a contingency of $945,000, of which we still have about $118,000 left. So over 800 and some odd thousand was used on Holland Hill in the contingency, and about the same amount for Riverfield. So, you know, it runs about contingency for this project is $1.2 million, about 5.9%. So it's heavier than I'd like, but this particular piece of property has got already given us enough issues that we want to maintain a higher contingency. I mean higher by about 200,000. So, but you know, it's if you use your contingency now, the project will take another 3 years, because every time we need money, we'd have to come back and stop construction, and nobody wants to do that.
And I also understand from some of the conversations I've had this past week that some of the work that might have led you to understand some of the problems you couldn't do because you wouldn't get reimbursements. Am I stating that fairly? So that in terms of what expects to be returned from the state, that
I'm not sure. I don't know that conversation.
I was speaking with members of the Board of Ed, so I don't know if that's something that we could. So let me restate this. Was there a way that you could have done something that would have avoided, or you could have learned about the soil issue, for instance, in advance, or did you have to really wait to the point where?
We have to wait and go through the process.
Okay.
Okay.
And then just my final question is, it was asked of a few residents about changing the site plan so that it would not be on the soil that you have in question, and we talked about that over the phone as well.
Well, yeah. That one is locked in basically by the topography of the property, okay, and the water content. It's a very difficult piece of property, okay. And if I was going to build a school, I wouldn't build it there. Let's put it that way, okay. But you know, it is there, and so we're going to remodel it and do it well.
Great, and at the end, we're going to have clean air and get those kids out of the portables. I think that this is.
Oh, absolutely.
Project, so thank you.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Mr. Quinn. So I'm going to come at the contingency issue a little bit differently. Mr. Quinn, I did ask this last week. Unfortunately, the meeting wasn't taped or anything, but do you feel that the contingency that you have on that building now is enough, given the work that you've been able to do
Yes, I do.
today? Okay, so the 1.2, at this point, you're comfortable with?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I do want to call out, you just said something very interesting and very true, which was the site plan for that building. It's a very challenging and difficult location. Again, last week I commented that these circumstances, while unfortunate, and maybe not specifically known, were actually foreseen in some ways. Mr. Walsh and Mr. Bateson several years ago, when we started the discussions on Holland Hill School, had raised the fact that they had significant concerns on Mill Hill. And unfortunately, their concerns have come to fruition here with this increase of 1.3. So I just want to point that out, because it was known or thought all along that this particular topography and particular location for a school was going to be a challenge, to your earlier points.
Obviously, I wasn't on Mill Hill then.
Right, right. No, I'm not even saying that you were around, but it's not, the fact that there's unforeseen things happening at that school related to soil and things like
Oh,
that.
yeah, it's-
That was
it is
a
what it
worry
is.
and concern 4
Yep.
years ago. So, thank you, sir.
Anything else?
No, thank you. And I just, I want to reiterate that I think that there's nothing, I don't think this caused any delay in the project, having a week for members to have the ability to ask questions
No, not at all.
and be better prepared to vote. So I always think that's a good thing, to be prepared, and
Thank you.
you're
I really
welcome.
appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, thank you, Mr.
I
Quinn.
would like to take a minute and introduce my vice chairs, Jason Lee, Melanie Ruggieri. Okay?
Yes, thank you. And I did say last week, I know, and I'll say again, that I thank you for your service to our community in this capacity. I know it's a lot of work, and it's typically a thankless job, but it does mean a lot to our community. So thanks again for doing it.
And Mr. Quinn, thank you for telling me before the meeting that if anything goes wrong, it's their fault.
I know. Anytime.
Okay.
Told us to blame you.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so we're going to bring it back, and if no one else on the board, is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this item? Seeing none, bring it back to the board. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Osborn Hill Roof Building Committee. To hear, consider, and approve a change for the Osborn Hill Roof Building Committee.
A charge? Yeah, okay.
May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second?
Second, sorry.
You want to come, who wants to come up? Sal? Okay.
Good evening. My name's Sal Morbido. I'm manager of construction for Fairfield Public Schools. The item before you is a charge for the Osborn Hill Building Committee. The next item on your agenda will then assign, once the charge is done and approved by this board, your next step is to assign the work to the Standing Building Committee, who's already been approved by the RTM
Right.
to act as a building committee on these types of projects under $3 million.
Does anyone have any questions? Mr. Flynn?
Okay, so when does this roof need to be replaced, or what are you proposing? What's the proposal?
This summer. The funding proposal passed this board in the Board of Finance, and is
Right.
on its way to the RTM later this month.
Right, so the work's going to happen this summer?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can you clarify what it is then that we're voting specifically on today?
Well, there should be another page with the actual charge.
We're basically handing this over to the Special Projects Standing Building Committee
That's
and
the
asking
next
them to
item.
administer the item, right?
Correct.
Right. First, you come up with the charge that says what their duties are, and then after that charge is approved, the charge is then assigned to the Standing Projects Special Building Committee, Special Projects.
Can I, Madam First Selectwoman, can I just ask that offline that we get a copy of the members of the Special Projects Standing Building Committee? Not that it's going to delay my vote in any way, shape, or form. I just, at this point, I don't know who's currently serving on that.
Sure.
I'd love to know.
Can you,
Rich Special is the chairman. Len Amato is on it. Jane Purcell is the secretary. Al Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
And Jerry,
He's going to love the fact you can't remember.
I
his
can't
name.
remember his last name, I'm sorry.
Okay. So going forward, there are
Keogh.
going to be, before
Jerry
us,
Keogh.
if there's any questions or comments regarding this project. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nancy, do you have any?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does any members from the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 8. To hear, consider, and act upon the following resolution as recommended by the First Selectwoman. Resolve that the Special Project Standing Building Committee shall serve as the Osborn Hill Roof Building Committee for the purpose of performing roof replacements at Osborn Hill Elementary School. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Second, thank you.
Do we need to amend this so that it reflects that it's this project that we voted on, or is it assumed, or is it?
I think it is. I mean, it says in the.
Same thing.
It says, yeah, it says the Special Projects Committee shall serve as the Osborn Hill.
Okay.
But do we have to specify the project?
No, it's listed out. Legally, I don't know the answer. But in here, it says, resolve that the Special Project Standing Building Committee shall serve as the Osborn Hill Roof Building Committee. And it's the same language that's in this. And arguably, the charge itself designates them, because in the fourth paragraph down, it says the OHRBC shall consist of the Special Project Standing Building Committee of the town. So the charge already kind of does it.
Yeah.
But I'm saying at the last sentence, for the purpose of performing roof replacements as outlined by, just so there's no question down the line if it's, so that we know that it's this project, or is it not necessary? I'm just thinking down the line if we have an issue of.
My own opinion is it's not necessary, but if it makes anybody feel better, I'm happy to do it.
I think we're all
You're
right.
fine. Okay.
Yeah.
It's the language that's been used for like the
Yeah.
last 3 or 4 building committee roof projects.
Okay. Does anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay. To consider and act upon the following resolution as recommended by the interim director of Public Works, whereas it is in the best interest of the town of Fairfield Water Pollution Control Authority to purchase and install a new generator at the wastewater treatment plant, and whereas the cost of purchasing and installing a new generator is now $717,900, where $347,250 reimbursement is provided through the federal pre-disaster mitigation grant through a FEMA grant administered by the state of Connecticut's Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security, and the remaining balance of $370,650 to be funded by the Water Pollution Control Authority. And whereas $115,750 was previously approved by town bodies. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Brenda L. Kupchak, First Selectwoman of the town of Fairfield, is duly authorized to enter into and sign contracts on behalf of the town of Fairfield's Water Pollution Control Authority with the state of Connecticut's Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security for the purpose of obtaining a federal FEMA grant and to accept and expend said grant. And further resolved that the First Selectwoman is authorized to provide such additional information and execute such other documents as may be required by the state or federal government in connection with said grants, and to execute any amendments, rescissions, and revisions thereto secure said grant. And, wow, it's a long resolution. Therefore, resolved that the purchasing authority is authorized to enter into the proposed contract with L. Hulser Electric Company to provide all labor, materials, equipment, and all else necessary for the replacement of generator and the automatic transfer switch, ATS, equipment at the wastewater treatment plant, as detailed in bid 2020-38 in the amount not to exceed $717,900. Therefore, $254,900 is hereby authorized to be funded by the WPCA. May I have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Discussion.
Madam First Selectwoman, could you read it again?
No. I'm going to make you read it next time. Can we do that? That would be, I don't know. If we can, we've got to figure out a way.
So, Brian, this is the item that was before us. There was just some language differences
Yes.
that were cleaned up?
Yes.
But this is the exact item we discussed and talked about last meeting?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have anything?
Is there any language that should be made, that we should make public, just that did change?
The last two paragraphs, one of this amendment to also, we didn't have the contract last time, so you guys are actually approving to enter in the contract as well.
Gotcha.
Right.
And all the things, the boxes have been checked in terms of the appropriate steps are in place and the contract is right and everything's in line and.
Correct.
The contract's been reviewed by the town attorney and signed off?
That is correct.
Bonds in place?
Bond is not in place yet until we sign the contract, which we have to go to 2 more boards, and then we'll sign the contract. First Selectwoman will sign the contract. Then we will get bonds and insurance.
How do we know
That
that that's going to be completed, or has there been any testing done to make sure that they can get a bond and all that kind of
They
stuff?
won't issue, we will get a purchase order. They actually have another, they're the same contractors working on the hardening project.
Okay.
So we know that they're well
Bondable.
vetted and bondable.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the questions. Selectwoman?
Good.
Moskowitz. Yes.
Okay. Is there anybody in the public who would like to speak on this item? Seeing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. To hear, item number 10, to hearing, consider, and authorize the purchasing authority to enter into a proposed contract with Sabia Electrical Contractors Incorporated to provide all labor, materials, equipment, and all else necessary for the replacement of the generator and automatic transfer switch ATS equipment at the Mill River Pump Station as detailed in bid 2020-39 in the amount not to exceed $155,000, previously approved by town bodies. May I have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
Second?
Discussion?
Same questions on this contract. Contract's been vetted by the town attorney?
Correct. We did these both at the same time as a package. It's a standard AIA contract, so.
Bonding and all that?
This is another company that has worked for the town in the past. We know they're bondable. Gerald Foley could probably go through the process a little bit, but in order to get the bonds from the contractor, we first need to sign a contract and issue a purchase order. Then they'll send the bond back to us.
Mr. Foley, all the vetting has been done on this?
Yes.
Okay. Just a thought as a process going forward, maybe so that we don't have this after every contract, given the issues that we've had. Maybe we can ask the town attorney to develop a checklist that can be included with our agenda package that just says all these items have been, signed off on and check the box list so that we don't have to bring them up and they can just be vetted in the documentation. Just a thought for go forward.
Okay.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. And Nancy, do you have anything? Any members of the public that wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carey. To consider and act upon tax refunds as recommended by the tax collector in the amount of $2,486.88. Have a motion to approve.
I'll second.
And just to make the statement for the record, the backup material is not here, but it's in our packet of information, and it's been reviewed and approved. And it is correct.
You good?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Item carries. Okay.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
I make a motion that we go into private executive session for the next item.
And I will second it.
All in favor? Aye. Oh, there it is. Okay, so we're coming out of executive session.
I'll make the motion to come out of executive session.
And I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We reviewed the agenda items, and no action was taken, and no votes. So the next item is item 13, to hear, consider, and act upon any other business that shall properly come before this meeting. Seeing none, a motion to adjourn.
I will move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty.
Hold on.